So this is actually technically a news story from last night, but this was originally the march that was going to go across the Harbour Bridge. They shut that down, unfortunately, due to high winds. But I think, good to see that the protesters accepted and the police did what was best. Harbour Bridge and a high wind, they sometimes shut it down for cars going across. Imagine someone being blown off the Harbour Bridge. Holy crap. So let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this story, and then I also want to show you the story, which is the Tommy Robinson one in the UK. And I honestly, when I saw the Tommy Robinson one, the footage from The Guardian, which I thought, now this is AI. That was that initial, do I believe this? And so we'll go have a look at some of those imagery as well and see what it is. But this is Auckland. This is the March for Humanity. I think it's called March for Humanity in Auckland.
I
think so.
The organisers of the march hoped to cross the Harbour Bridge to emulate other marches in places like Sydney, but the weather forecast said no.
Naturally, we were disappointed, but at the end of the day, we need to look after the safety of our people.
Today, you all are writing Aotearoa history!
Still, 20,000 joined the demonstration in the CBD.
Pretty good. 20,000.
Yeah.
I think the Hikoi that went from the top of the North Island with Uru Kapakingi had 30. So 20,000 for a Saturday afternoon in Auckland, it's reasonable. It's good.
I don't think I've ever seen Victoria Park with that full.
Yeah, no, true actually. I used to play cricket just on the middle there, and it was a lot less full when we did that. But there you go.
Government to sanction Israel today!
They've bombed Qatar in the past few days. They've bombed Syria. They've bombed Lebanon. They've bombed Tunisia. So someone needs to hold them accountable.
Aotea Square was too small, and demonstrators spilled across Queen Street.
To support Palestine all the way.
This is not about religion. It's about humanity.
What Israel are doing are just genocide and disgusting.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Down the hill, a counter-demonstration was brewing.
One of the ways a counter-protest isn't really a counter-protest is that the only people involved with it are Destiny Church.
Oh,
so
the PR exercise.
Yeah, the one up the hill, obviously they just showed you immigrants, elderly, Pākehā Kiwis, all groups, all races, all age groups, everything, all coming together for a cause. This one is the astroturfed version of that, coming in the same bands from the same location in South Auckland to do this. So technically a protest.
I think everybody who actually voted for Hana Tamaki in the by-election right there.
Yeah. So it's important to always remember that whilst technically this might be referred to as a protest, it's more like an appearance from Destiny Church.
Yeah.
Small group, many in Man Up T-shirts, briefly stood in the way, but police moved them off the Queen Street route. One counter-protester, separate from the Man Up group, said he was standing up for freedom of speech and the sovereignty of Israel.
It's abhorrent that people can be walking our streets screaming intifada without really understanding what it means, the reality of it in life for people in other nations.
I see suggesting because it might be damaging to people who live in Israel, and I'm just wondering if that is what he's worried about. Has he seen Gaza? Has he seen 94% of the buildings damaged? Has he seen the reported tens of thousands, more likely hundreds of thousands of deaths? And look, this is almost like the opposite conversation now. He is worried about words over actions, whereas the other conversation tonight, people worried about actions over words. This is the opposite. He's worried about people saying something rather than the Israeli Defense Force, sanctioned by the Israeli government, committing war crimes, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people. And he's almost in tears, it sounds like, based on the words that are being said by protesters.
Yeah, he's clearly emotional, clearly emotional. I can see why he feels he needs to be there, but he does not come across as well informed for the reason that he's there.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the end of this. Only got a minute or so.
That people can be walking our streets screaming intifada without really understanding what it means, the reality of it in life for people in other nations.
Did you come prepared for confrontation here today?
No, I'm very scared, to be fair. I'm 68 years old, the first time I've been to something like this in my life.
So the police have pushed the protesters back into Victoria Street. At the moment, the police line is holding as the other march goes down Queen Street. A small group from the main protest stopped to remonstrate, but only verbally.
Palestine will be free!
Organisers of the main march were keen to avoid confrontation, moving their people on. A lot of anger was spoken.
That is a graphic, but also slightly inspiring sign. I mean, maybe because of the events of the last 4 or 5 days, it feels graphic, but it's also pretty on point. I mean, you can't really question it, can you? So yes, and artistically quite accurate, it would seem as well. So very good.
Focused on our government. Opposition politicians were out in force.
Luxon and government need to grow a spine. Sanction Israel right now.
They should be standing up. They should be a stronger voice on the international stage.
When approached,
it is interesting that that's Carmel Sepuloni, so number 2 in Labour, that now the question will be getting asked for the next 12 months, what happens if Labour gets in to lead the next coalition government? Because there's a number 2 in Labour going, sanction Israel.
Yeah.
You know, that's a line in the sand. Is that official party policy? It'll be very interesting to see what happens from here. But I tell you, I think that it's a little bit like the capital gains tax. And I know I don't mean to be beat up on this like I'm a broken record, but the capital gains tax is no longer controversial. 2/3 of New Zealanders want some kind of capital gains tax. I wonder if by next election it also sanctions on Israel. If this continues, I wonder if sanctions on Israel will also be non-controversial because a lot of New Zealanders will want them. It'll be interesting to see. Any thoughts, Paul?
I would be kind of curious to see how Luxon is going to sort of ease into this was suddenly his idea. When it comes to our international policy, generally Labour and National are usually pretty aligned. And when the general election happened, there was conversation then while Chewie was sort of caretaker prime minister before Luxon came in about, what are you going to do about Israel and what, much earlier in this particular conflict. And Luxon was basically, no, I trust Chewie on this because he knows what he's doing. So there wasn't a lot of disagreement there, but now we're seeing these fractures open up where, you've got the left going, we need to do more. And you've got the right going, we'd like to, but David Seymour's friends say no. And so it'll be really fascinating to see if Luxon can shift that, because he does need to grow a spine on this one. Australia is looking at recognizing statehood. England's looking at recognizing it. France, and I think Italy or Germany.
Canada.
There's a couple of places in Europe doing it. We used to be leaders in this kind of stuff. We're one of the first places in the world to recognize Papua New Guinea, for example. But we are lagging behind.
All right, we'll keep going. Here we go.
Standing up. They should be a stronger voice on the international stage.
When approached, the foreign minister did not respond to today's protests, but has previously said recognition of Palestinian statehood is a matter of when, not if. A spokesperson for the New Zealand...
You know what's going to happen? Like, here's the prediction. It'll become so obvious in the polls that New Zealanders en masse will want this. Luxon will... Because if Winston Peters is saying, if not when, they'll do this, hold their finger up to the wind. They'll see it's positive. They'll then, as you say, sell it as their own. But we know what'll happen after that. They will lose a bunch of support, and you'll get a whole bunch of people not voting. Unless, of course, what you get is National doing this, and New Zealand First saying if, but when, you might get David Seymour going, we will not support that. And they'll flood from National to there. And that'll be the evangelical, conservative Christian groups and the conservative Jewish groups. Those ones will flow through them. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out, if it pans out like that, I reckon.
Jewish Council told 3 News Hamas has ruled Gaza for 2 decades without holding elections and is a proscribed terrorist organisation. In Gaza City itself, Palestinians have been forced to evacuate ahead of the Israeli ground offensive. Al Jazeera...
Sorry. Just clear my throat. War crime. Just got to always put that out there. Forced displacement. War crime. Forced displacement. War crime. Bombing residential areas. War crime. Just so we don't forget.
Era reported 65 dead overnight, 48 in Gaza City.
It's dehumanizing the Palestinians. We are humans, we have lives, we have dreams, we deserve to live, we demand justice, we demand freedom for the Palestinian people.
And today, 20,000 people in Auckland marched to echo that demand.
Okay, so there's the 3 News story of what happened in Auckland. We're going to go into the Tommy Robinson protest over in the UK and everything. But do you want to comment on any of that before we move?
I think it's amazing. I like just seeing those sheer numbers. People often forget how big Aotea Square actually is because they think it's the big concrete patch outside the theatre there. But it does go on quite a bit to the side as it runs down Town Hall. And just seeing the absolute overflow in that area was amazing.
Well, let me contextualise that. I saw Alanis Morissette in Aotea Square. She did a free like mini concert, like 20 minutes in Aotea Square. And Aotea Square was big enough to hold the people coming to see a free Alanis Morissette gig for, I don't know, it would have been in the late 90s, whatever. So if it was big enough for that, not for this.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. It reminded me of what we saw with the Hikoi on Parliament grounds, just overflowing everywhere, which is really cool to see so many people come out and support this statement. Yeah. I'm really hoping that on Saturday, I think it is, when we've got the pay equity protest happening as well around the country, that we see the same kind of turnout, like a really big turnout to support those people who lost their pay equity claims. It'll be that's up at Albert Park though, so it's a little bit different to filling out the square.
All right, let's go and have a look at this, the Unite the Kingdom rally march, because I've said it already twice tonight, but when I saw this footage from The Guardian, and we'll do a story as well, but when I saw this footage from The Guardian, I was like, I don't know if I can believe that. I mean, just stick with, this is not slowed down, by the way. There are a lot of people. I think the official number is they're saying 100 and something thousand. That looks more than 100 and something thousand to me. The people who are running it are saying 1 million. No, I don't know about that.
No.
Maybe somewhere in between. But look, you say no, but it takes a long time for this to stop.
It takes a long time, but 1 million people in one place, that seems a huge amount.
I don't know about 1 million. I'm not saying that, but like I remember when we won our first America's Cup, there was like 300,000 people in Queen Street. So look, I mean that's still going. That is the official number is a fuck ton of people.
Yeah,
it's still going. It's not stopped. I mean, look, just quadrupled in size.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel real.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, I don't know what the number is. Like I said, the official number is 100 and something thousand. The people who are
you're watching the legal breakdown, Glenn.
No, we're not. I'm not watching that. Oh, everything's playing on me now. All right, so this is the story. I mean, when you were going to show the story, it was all Sky News and all these Murdoch. Yeah. So I found ITV News. ITV feels a bit safer. Are we okay with ITV? Yeah. Okay, so here's a report from ITV on this. See, they're calling it tens of thousands. Here's the report from ITV on the march.
It is billed as a march to unite the nation.
They keep leaving out the word white. I don't know why. March to unite the white nation. Why do they keep skipping over that? Sorry, the white elderly nation. That would be even more accurate, perhaps.
But it could be that the many thousands filling the streets of central London today emphasise also Britain's deepening divisions. They gathered under the red, white...
Watch people, many older white people. Am I right? Spot the young brown person.
And blue. The climax of a summer of protest by those who believe they are losing control of their country.
Sooner or later, we're going to be the minority in our own country. And that's
it
scary.
Must really
some of it is to do with
in Britain and losing control of a country instead of any number of their colonies and losing control. They're just not used to it being on their doorstep.
Yeah, this is called karma, bitch.
Population, we're not having as many children anymore.
Is that not a racist thing to say?
No, I don't think so. We're right in what we're doing.
If they want to call us far right, so be it. We're right, we believe in what we're doing.
The march is organised by the far-right activist known as Toby Robinson.
And criminal, you forgot to mention that. Multiple convicted criminal, that's part of it.
Who has convictions for fraud and violence.
I don't know. I've been looking pretty closely. I still haven't seen a non-white face. I mean, maybe one struck by. I still haven't seen one yet, though, interestingly enough.
So today he appealed to his followers to be on their best behaviour.
There is no doubt that Britain's far right, for so long, so far beyond the pale, believes that public concern over immigration can help propel it from the political fringe to somewhere closer to centre stage. But that always brings with it the potential for confrontation and for violence.
So there is a heavy police presence. Their aim to keep at a safe distance this counter-protest that began close by and is described as a stand-up to fascism rally.
I'm a descendant of a Holocaust survivor, and you know, I'm going to carry on marching against these people forever.
I live locally.
Sorry, it just fills my heart to see a non-white face in this story. It's amazing. It's amazing which side of the argument they're on as well.
I am shocked.
There you go.
And I feel that it's really important to use any opportunity for us all to stand together.
Notice her pin, stand up to Trump, is what her pin says on her, on her turtleneck. Nice.
Against this awful rise of the right wing and fascism generally.
And back in Parliament Square, not everyone looked at the flags and saw a display of patriotism.
I know that majority of people here are not here for the right reasons. They don't know why they're here. It's a sheep thing. They're following, and that's scary. It's scary.
Both demonstrations are due to end in the coming hours, but already the day leaves many lingering questions. Not least, what kind of country does our national flag symbolise?
Yeah, that was a late pull-out
No,
by the
that's
vehicle,
the question
wasn't it?
they should have been asking for the last 200 years to the other countries they colonise. What do you think your flag actually symbolises?
It is funny how the UK is such a hot button for so many issues. Like, for example, you talk about the transgender issues, like the feminists who want to exclude the transgender community. That's the real hotbed is in the UK. It seems like this whole kind of take our country back, the hotbed is in America. But when the UK is taking it on board, man, when they take something like that on board, they take it on board. That's an unbelievable crowd
lying in that protest.
Yeah.
It feels very much like another imported culture war thing. But I suspect that it'll be like the Australian ones that were on a couple of weeks ago. Somebody's going to wake up in the morning and go, oh, shit, that's a neo-fucking-Nazi. I was in a protest with neo-Nazis. Damn. It's
such a valid question. And it's such a valid question. And the narrative gets spun. So Posey Parker in Melbourne is one I always reference. The neo-Nazis turned up there. She and her supporters try and turn into the neo-Nazis turned up to kind of ruin the rally. Whereas people with things like brains and eyes and ears they turned up to that rally because they support the message. Yeah. So even if you're not a part of that community, you're not a part of that, and I'm not using that pejoratively as a slang, they are Nazis, they call themselves
self-described.
Yes, and this is the Melbourne situation. So I always suggest that if that part of society or any part that's incredibly detrimental, bad, evil, whatever word you want to use, supports your message, even if you don't feel like you're a part of that community, then you need to check out your message. And it feels a bit the same with this Unite the Kingdom.
Yeah. It does make me wonder, because I don't know the minutiae of everything that they're going through over there. What are the circumstances that's led them to get to this point? Because they've always had this issue with immigration. Brexit was obviously something big that was a bit of a flashpoint for them. It's always felt like they're doing everything they can to keep Britain white, which is, very British in many ways. So I'm kind of curious what the flashpoint is now, and it's clearly not just in England. We're seeing it in so many Western cultures at the moment, so many Western countries. It's frustrating.